come all to learn and grow. Welcome to the Village Talk Show. Come all to learn and grow. Welcome to the Village Talk Show. We discuss what people need to know, empowering them to learn and grow. We discuss what people need to know, empowering them to learn and grow. Give praises to Jehovah, from whom all blessings, blessing and knowledge will flow. Blessing and knowledge will flow. The Village Talk Show, dedicating to empowering the community to live a healthy, safe, and financially capable life, helping each one of us in realizing our dream at any age, any point, starting from today, day. Success. Come all to learn and grow. Welcome to the Village Talk Show. Come all to learn and grow. Welcome to the Village Talk Show. We discuss what people need to know, empowering them to learn and grow. We discuss what people need to know, empowering them to learn and grow. Success is not spoken, it is done. Success is done. Come on now. The Village Talk Show. Talk Show. The Village Talk Show.
Good evening. Welcome, villagers, to another week of The Village, where we're dedicated to ensuring the community is safe, financially well, and healthy, and even informed about what's going on in the world. Welcome. John, what's good, bro?
Hey, man, what's good? Welcome, villagers. Thank you for another show on The Village. We're going to try to bring you all the information possible, but most of all, we want to hear from you. It's me and Andre tonight. Dr. Bryant, she's not feeling well, and our fearless leader, Roderick, he's on a plane to God knows where. He's off somewhere. Another one of his quote unquote vacations.
Yeah.
No, work. Yeah, right. Yeah. You mean vacation. Yeah, but I just to get into it, man.
Yeah.
If our villagers didn't hear what happened yesterday,
yeah,
about the death of the conservative pundit Charles Kirk, 31 years old, married, 2 children. Although I don't agree with his positions or his rhetoric, he did not deserve to die at the hands of a high-powered rifle from an individual who we don't know who that person is. But, we can't settle our disagreements with people on the political spectrum through violence. And I know it's hard. It's hard because you got some people on the left and some people on the right who just continuously espouse, always trying to, even President Trump was very unfortunate, even in his comments. He just talks about incidents of violence directed towards people in the conservative wing, but there were quite a few incidents directed against Democrats, and see what his constituent picks up on that, meaning that, it's only the conservatives who are dealing with this political violence. No, it is people on both sides are dealing with this political violence. And this is the problem. Because of that rhetoric, that is why situations like that and the other situations happen. And even, he didn't even talk about yesterday, not much about the school shooting that happened where 3 people are in critical condition. So, it's you have your freedom, you have your First Amendment right, and you have your Second Amendment right to carry guns, and should people be able to, those are rights and privileges. Those are rights that you have, and you can exercise those rights. But we have to start understanding that we can agree to disagree without getting violent.
Yeah.
Now 2 kids are going to grow up without a father.
And
His wife has become a widow, and that impacts the whole family nucleus.
yeah.
And people can, and the comments that I saw on Facebook, comments on the pundits on TV, some people, like he gets what he deserves because he espoused, of course, because of the importance of the Second Amendment, there are going to be deaths, but that's the importance of having the Second Amendment. Irrespective of all that rhetoric crap, at the end of the day, we forget that we are all God's children. We are all, and there's going to be a day of redemption. But we need to understand we still are our brothers and sisters keepers despite our differences. And we have to respect our differences. We have to be open-minded. We don't want to listen. If we don't agree with someone, we're ready to cancel him. And just to, we'll deal with that. But then I just want to, just deal with also the mayor's race, which, has been very troubling to me because it's a constant thing about polls. Where, Adams is in last place, Cuomo's in second place with these polls. Mandami is 40%. If you notice that Mandami has not been able to crack 46%, he hasn't been able to crack 50% of the vote. This guy is vulnerable,
Why is he not able to? And I want to get
why isn't he not able? Because people are paying attention to. They're figuring out. Okay, he's new on the scene. He's talking something different, but it's come to the conclusion like how is he going to pay for a lot of this stuff? How is he going to make this happen? How? I looking at the rhetoric that you have. I look at what's going on in Chicago. I look what's going on in California. I see what's going on and the impact it's having, and what also has been creeping up, the issue of public safety. And his plan was $1 billion on law enforcement, hire all these social workers, villagers. When you get into a conflict, instead of calling 911 for police help, I want you to call your social to come and help you.
John, you went.
Social worker.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
You had went low a little bit, but
okay.
Can you repeat that? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he talks about hiring all these social workers. I can dealing with the mentally ill or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. So the next time a constituent in New York City has to deal with someone who has a mental health episode, I want them, instead of calling 911, I want you to call the hotline for the social worker and allow the social worker to come in and de-escalate the situation. I want to know how many New Yorkers would allow that, who would call them? Or you're going to call the police who can work in conjunction with them. My thing with Zoran is he talks affordability. And, but him and Cuomo, these guys they don't know what affordability is because they didn't have to strive and work hard. They had the foundation already laid for them. There's people in our community that don't have any foundation laid for them. They have to lay their own foundation and work in conjunction with the community to lay a foundation. And another thing is when I look at the guys' inner circles, I didn't see one black or brown person in his inner circle. They talk about Patrick Gaspar, Obama, ambassadorship and all that. But when is the last time he's been in East New York, Brownsville, Southeast Queens, the Bronx? certain
It's
areas in Staten Island. Cut the bull, man.
it's
You
funny.
know,
It's
yeah, I'm
funny.
sorry.
It's okay. It's funny you say that too. That in his circle, who he has, and I'm wondering. Is my question. If the people who are very massive supporter of Mandami, do they look at his circle, because they possibly have used that same argument when it comes to Trump, looking at his circle, who he has around him, as a reason to not necessarily vote for him. So I wonder if they also look at him in that same way, or sometimes people biases may just make them just vote for someone regardless of some of the things that they see, because the person is on a particular political side.
And
Um,
then, man, and he said, "Man, damn, is the new shiny toy. Everybody likes the new shiny toy." He talks about affordability. He talks about freezing rents. He talks about free buses. He FIFA. He talks about the tickets are too high, and you know what I'm saying. So if that's the case, then when you become mayor, buy a whole bunch of tickets and give them to people. You know what I'm saying? In that case, it's like, my frustration is, it's like rhetoric versus reality. What is reality? And what Adams has done in his administration? Cancel all the noise. Whatever it is. Look that guy for a second.
you're breaking up.
Especially people, your taxes have gone years administration, property taxes went up, worse went up,
You kind of broke up a little bit.
crime was at a level that wasn't acceptable. So, I just feel,
John, can you like shift a little? The phone breaking up.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you might have to go back a little bit in terms of some of the stuff that you said moments ago.
Well, no, let's hear from you, man. Let's hear what's going on. I hear my griping and bitching and moaning. But bad.
Oh man, but no, I can agree with the sentiment in the sense of shiny new toy, and I always feel like, when I see the politicians them come on the scene, maybe a new politician, it's always important to just hear what they're saying, and as you said, rhetoric versus reality. We want equity all across the board. That's what we really
Across the board.
always want.
Right.
But we also, when someone is promising it in such nice ways, and they say we can get this done, and like you said, the new person on the block, there's a sense of this person is new, they're speaking with this rhetoric that sounds like they're going to do something new and better, I'm going to give them my votes. And so I feel like, or believe rather, there's a lot of times
And that rhetoric, Bernie Sanders, AOC. You know what? Something. Both of them are in the minority.
you went down.
I'm sorry.
Or that's me. John.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, here you know.
I said both of them were in the minority.
Yeah.
And they can say whatever they want to, but when they were in positions of leadership, all the policies that they wanted to implement, they did not get implemented.
Sadly, and I mean they're hard work.
Sadly, and that's my whole point.
Yeah.
And because of those policies and because of that rhetoric, we have the current administration. It's about, you can't be too far left, you can't be too far right. You just got to be open-minded and pretty much be somewhere in the middle, so you can understand both sides. So when you're trying to put forth issues that impact one group over another group, You need to get them to the point where they understand why you're doing this. What is the gist and what is the benefit that it can be for you in the long run?
Yeah, no, I think if if you have to be realistic about what's going on. I think even having ideals is also valuable because when we look at some of the greatest accomplishments in terms of innovation and all, it started with ideals. It started with an ideal
Yeah.
dream. And so, but you have to also understand reality, how much you have to do and how much can be done in the time that you are planning to get it done. Sometimes it might take a while, but if you're just speaking from just an idealistic point of view, and not considering reality, the accomplishment is gonna either not get accomplished or it'll take a longer time to get accomplished. And I think politicians such as AOC and Bernie Sanders, they wanted certain things, but sometimes the question would come up: Are you really considering what's reality? Right? You have these ideals, and perhaps the rhetoric, the pretty rhetoric Mandani is speaking. So curious to see what will happen. I look up the polls as you mentioned, cracking 45. It's like 46, 47, but it's not. I don't see it really going as high. So
I,
that's
I think it will get people will start paying. It's going to start getting tighter because people are starting to pay attention to. It's great, man. He comes around, he shakes hands, he shows everybody. People like that. When it comes to running a city of of X number of people, um, you're going to have to be able to implement policies that you cannot feel that one side of the spectrum is benefiting versus the other side of the spectrum. You know,
mhm,
so my thing with Mandami is, you know, we can espouse all of these ideas,
yeah,
but if you can show me a concrete way of how you're going to be able to implement them, you
yeah,
got me. You got me. He has no track record. He was in Albany. He didn't do much in Albany. I understand as an assembly member, in a couple of years, there's so much you can do. But he knows the trappings of Albany, meaning that Hochul is not going to raise taxes at all. Next year's an election year. That's not going to happen. So where are we going to get this revenue from? If you keep engaging Trump to the point where you keep antagonizing him, we need the federal government's help. We need to have a relationship with the president, whether he's a Democrat or Republican,
that is
to get
true.
certain things done. And look what's going on in Chicago. Mayor was far left, and now the mayor has come to the realization that he's talking about, I'm going to have to raise taxes to be able to pay for a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, history, man. I say it as much too. History may not always repeat itself, but it rhymes. And sometimes when people get backed in a corner, they realize certain things, and it is that is what has made a lot of leaders who may win elections kind of go back on those who support them. Just to a degree, they realize, oh man, I need to do something, and I just gotta jump. I just gotta do this. And so, that's where you start having the supporters say, nah, you say you were gonna do this, now you did this. Because it's one thing to run for office and run for the job, but when you get into the job, it's a different ball game. No,
And
you
running for mayor, being a mayor is a thankless job because no matter what you do, people are not going to be satisfied. I learned that lesson as an elected official. I was always worried about what people think, and I come to the realization that I can't satisfy everybody. I
yeah,
can't. I just have to
yeah,
go do my best, make sure that I stay open minded, make sure that my office and my staff is available to help anyone who comes through that door,
yeah,
irrespective of you're Democrat, Republican. It's about relationships in life. It's
yeah,
about relationships that you establish as an elected official when we all want the same things. Uh, my father was a Democrat, but he was a conservative Democrat when it came to issues of finance and things like that.
hmm,
But certain social issues, he was a little bit more open minded and liberal regarding certain social issues.
yeah,
Public safety is important. is the key because we look at some of our communities in the Caribbean countries, and the one thing we always look at is law enforcement, the safety, you know, of those who live in the country, the safety of tourists that come to this country. So public safety is extremely important in our
Yeah.
community. And make no bones about it, we're going in the right trajectory, but we can go backwards too. And, we don't want to do that, man. The only thing we just want to be able to, eh, you know, just everybody talks about the American dream. You want to be able to live your dream.
That's
Whatever
it.
your dream is, you want to live your dream. You know what
Yes.
I'm saying? And you want to be uninhibited in living your dream. You don't want no obstacles. You just want to make sure there is opportunity. I don't mind working hard for it, but I just want to make sure there's opportunity. And I think when you're talking about, you know, Charlie Kirk,
Yeah.
some of his rhetoric was harsh, but
Yeah.
when he was on these campuses, he would debate people. And that's what you want, to the point where he hears me, I hear him, you have your ideologies, but there's a level of respect that we have when we listen to one another. The name calling, the name calling, it's the personal attacks. It all leads to people just taking it to the next level.
Yeah.
Turn down villagers, let's just turn down the temperature on this whole political rhetoric and all of this. At the end of the day, we are all God's children, and we have to sit in judgment one day before Him. And He's going to ask us, what have we done during our time on earth here?
Yeah. I got a couple questions on
Yeah, shoot.
assertion regarding the Charlie Kirk thing, but before that, just pull up a couple. Warren had said absolutely earlier to some points regarding the shooting, and
What's up, my brother Warren?
what's going on with it. Benev, as Roger called the village pessimist, he has said, it's sad people may not agree with him, but they don't have to kill him. It's sad what people do now. I agree. And to some of the other points we had, Shoshana,
Hey, Sean, what's up? What's up? What's up?
right. Warren had also agreed that when I make a call, it's for the police, right, regarding the mental health issues of what's going on. And he just moments ago said election is about voting for the lesser of two evils. Unfortunately, I never liked that statement about the lesser of two evils. It's kind of like saying, would you rather be fried in the fire or in the frying pan? Where would you rather
But,
be?
but sometimes you may not agree with a person.
Yeah.
You may not agree with their ideology and their positions and what they have to done. But then you ask this: who would be best for the city?
Yeah.
Who's the person that would be best for the city, and at least make sure that we are safe? If you look at what what the mayor has done, with especially for families in the New York City Housing Authority, these
Yeah.
kids, allowing some of these kids to go to college, man, that's a lot. That education allows them to move from poverty, move to the working class, give them hope and give them opportunity. Because in our communities, man, there's no hope. Some kids don't have no hope. Some
Yeah.
kids they don't leave the block. They don't see no future. They just see the hustle. I got to have a gimmick to make a life, to make a living. They do not see anything past the four corners, the 4 blocks, or whatever it is. They don't realize there's something over the wall. It's interesting, man. When you're in prison, you're confined, you're locked down. You're confined in an area, and you always wonder, whoa, what's going on in the outside world?
Mm-hmm.
What am I going to do when I get in the outside world? It's the same thing, man. When you're in prison in your own neighborhood, I'm going to stay within the 4 corner world. But what's on the opposite side? What's on the other side of the tracks?
Curious.
How can that help me grow, man? It's about being well-rounded, traveling the world. We talk about poverty, but you go to some of these countries and you see what poverty truly is.
Yeah. For
You go
real.
to Iraq, you go to Iran, you go to some of these countries. You
Yeah.
know, some of these countries in, you know, in
We
Africa.
we have to be grateful here, man. Like
We
I look at
must be grateful, but at the same
yeah,
time, we must not only be grateful, we must be thankful.
thank yeah,
And we must be thankful for what we have. Not only what we have, the potential that exists to have more than what we have.
yeah. No, for real, man. For real. Like I look at, the things that I'm able to do and how I'm able to kind of like just live my life here. Um, even just being able to be on here. A lot of people, some people wish they could do this itself too, and not able to. Shelter, you got food, your safety, all those other things. So I'm grateful, gratitude, on a daily basis.
It is a
Uh,
daily basis, and some of us don't. Some of us are not just thankful. Some of us want more. Some of us say we don't have enough, man. Just be thankful for you. Just be thankful for what you have, your health
yeah,
and strength, and your ability and your opportunity to achieve, to get more. You
yeah,
know, nobody's going to give you anything. You got to take it, and you got to figure a way of how you're going to take it. And I'm going to take it by making sure I put myself in a position to educate myself
yeah,
or work or learn a trade so I can put myself in a position to take advantages of opportunities that present itself. You
yeah,
know, this is what's important. And you think about what's going on in the world, the young man yesterday, the the shooting and, you know, the constant, you know, affordability that exists in this country. What is it? What do we have to do? And another thing is how much is enough, man? How
So
much is it?
and that's the question I had to that really, or is an assertion. But I thought about the gun laws, gun rights, all those things really, and the conversation has always come about as making uh new or better laws make it more difficult for people to access guns and all. But then my thing, and I wonder what you think on this, wouldn't it, if people had a more difficult time in getting access, the people who still are going to do what they're going to do in terms of committing the crime or to get what they want, they might find other means of it. It brings up the question of guns kill people, not people kill people, or people kill people and not the guns. What do you think on that itself? Is a gun is new and
Let me
better
tell you
option?
something. A gun doesn't fire by
Yeah,
itself. A gun does not fire by itself.
that is true. That is obviously
You
true.
know, and in our communities, you know, kids have access to guns. They have access to illegal guns.
Mm.
One thing I give the mayor credit for, in their years of administration, so far 3.5 years, they took 23,000 guns off the street. Think about that. Think about that, villagers. There's still a lot of guns on the street, but 23,000 guns are off these city streets. They could
Yeah,
have done a tremendous amount of damage. So, you know, I believe in the Second Amendment. People have a right to bear arms. I think there needs to be more stopgap measures to ensure that guns get into the hands of people that are responsible, do not have any diminished mental capacities. Uh, they should not be allowed to be able to access firearms. If they want to access it, they're going to do it illegally anyway. But the whole point was we just want to make it a little bit more tougher for those who want to carry or those who want to purchase these guns. I believe in it. Give them the opportunity to want to, but at the same time, there's certain additional red flags or additional requirements that we need to implement to just make sure. We're not going to be 100% perfect on this, but at the same time, slow it up and people may see certain things, or people may get discouraged and not wanting to buy those handguns. But I agree. You have that right to buy the guns, but guns are it's people who kill,
Yeah.
people who use guns, but it's not the guns.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So I'm gonna do a little commercial break here and then we'll transition. All right.
Sounds good.
Footprints Cafes now offers Caribbean flatbreads, available in 11 mouth-watering flavors, including favorites like jerk chicken, curry chicken, honey garlic chicken or shrimp, ackee and saltfish, garlic cheese, and more. Our flatbreads are satisfying and can be enjoyed by the entire family. So make it a flatbread night at Footprints and enjoy the fusion of flavors. These flatbreads are so good, you might just have to fight for that last piece. Good thing there's plenty more where that came from. Get yours today from any of our Footprints locations. Want to enjoy your flatbread at home? Then order on Uber Eats and get it delivered right to your door. We'll see you there.
Call Howard Housing Solution today for all your real estate needs. Sellers, we can get top dollar for your home, and our vast network of professionals can facilitate your move and help you purchase your dream home in another state. Buyers, we have a pulse on the market and can get you in a home quickly. Property owners, we can manage your property efficiently and allow you peace of mind. So why wait? Call Howard Housing Solutions today at 646-825-5560 for your sale, purchase, or property management needs. Conveniently located in East New York, Brooklyn. You can come to us at 577 New Lots Avenue, Brooklyn, New York, or we can visit in the comfort of your home. Call Howard's Housing Solutions today at 646-825-5560. Howard Housing Solutions. Real estate simplified.
Want to get your personal income tax, business corporate tax, self-employment tax, quarterly tax, payroll tax, or sales tax filing done professionally?
Yeah.
Call U.S. Spirit LLC 718-676-0519 and take the worry out of your personal and business life. Tax compliance issues should be left to the pros. So when you want your business to grow, call the pros because a successful business matters. U.S. Spirit LLC also handles accounting, bookkeeping, business startups, consultation, real estate, and many more services. Call U.S. Spirit LLC 718-676-0519 and ask for Howard DaCosta, CEO, to book a 1-hour evaluation at no cost to you. Take remote control of all your needs and U.S. Spirit LLC will follow your lead. Want to work but don't have a social security number?
Yes!
Find out about getting a tax ID to pay your taxes. Call U.S. Spirit LLC or log on to www.usspirit.com. Team up for success.
All right. So RFK, our health guy, man. What do you
You know what? He's really just turning up the Department of Health, Human Services. He is just, you know what he's doing? He's making people question the validity of vaccines now.
Yeah.
A quick story. Villagers. This weekend I have to go to my cousin. I have a memorial service for my cousin Andrew Stewart. And I think Andrew's like maybe 52, 53.
Mm-hmm.
And, he was one who believed in holistic medicine and things like that. He had diabetes and it got really bad, but he was insistent upon just, this is from what I've learned from just, speaking to his brother and, just listening to some people talk about it. He was more, concerned, let me do the holistic ways. He had a sore on his foot. They wanted to amputate his foot. No, I'm not going. Make a long story short, they got infections. And as a result of all of that, he faced kidney failure and he succumbed to all that his body was going through. And what really hurt me more was his mother, Shirley worked extremely hard to make sure her sons were given an opportunity to enjoy life and have a family, which she did. She's from Guyana, and she was down and she was pretty perturbed that, you know, that he he didn't really take heed to all the the medical advances that we have when dealing with diabetes. And it's very important when she heard he passed, and she was on her way up, she suffered a stroke, and as a result of that, she eventually died too. And villagers, I say this to say that, you know, your health is your wealth. There's nothing wrong with holistic medicine, but at the same time, take advantage of all the advanced medical researches that we have done. And we have come a long way from 40, 50 years ago. And I say that to say this about Kennedy. The way he is making us question the validity of vaccines. People are going to start questioning. They say, I'm not going to take any vaccines. I'm going to do this or do that. So to avoid, situations like that. So you just have to be mindful, villagers. There's nothing wrong with holistic, but at the same time, we need to take advantage of modern day medicine too.
And I agree with that. And I think, so him making people question it, I think the fact people ask questions are important too. And I think if people are questioning, people need to do research and try to get research. But even how America has been, it still haunts so many people. And so that's why people even, have this hesitation, the controversies around even when we had COVID. A lot of people who were about vaccine, who are staunch supporters of vaccines, question COVID vaccine. And so even that itself, still in the back of so many people's mind, that Kennedy speaking, they're questioning it now versus if it was way before the COVID vaccine, maybe a lot of people wouldn't necessarily question the validity of it. They might have just jumped to it. So, the other part of this too is that taking care of your health. We have been we are advanced innovatively, wherein there's so much more innovation here today versus like 50, 100 years ago. And so people need to take advantage of that, while at the same time ensuring that you be mindful of the food you eat, right? Because the fact of the matter is that the pharmaceutical and the fast food industry are in bed together, right?
Mm-hmm.
On the one hand, you're eating the terrible food and it tastes all good and dandy, but over time, over years, it's gonna start showing its impact, and now you have to go to a doctor, to get the cure. But medicine, oftentimes in the West, really, is about fixing or treating the symptoms rather than curing. It's about reactionary rather than preventative. So I think it's so important for people to be mindful of those things. So, like, what are you all doing today? Right. This is what we are about here in the village. We want to make sure that you read the label, read the labels, find out what is being put in your food. And I also can see on the other side of it too, because healthy food is more expensive, which is so ironic.
So true, my friend.
How can I?
Unless you grow it your own, my brother. Unless you grow it or you kill it yourself.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. So it's like people are in this. What's the term? Stuck between a rock and a hard place. I want to be able to live forever, but I can't live forever because I need the funds to be able to do that. But then not getting the funds, I have difficulty getting the funds. I have to think about so many other things. I'm gonna just depend on a doctor, and if the doctor is gonna be trustworthy, I'm just gonna go with them. So, being aware and just following through is so important. But Kennedy's family is just calling on his resignation, He's a threat to
Yeah,
America.
okay, let me just tell you something. That's what everybody calls the resignations. We don't agree with you. The resignations. You know what? You know, instead of calling for a resignation, you may call for a sit down. Call for a sit down. So what the hell are you doing? Explain to us what is your philosophy behind all of this? Because you can call for his resignation. He's not going nowhere. Trump ain't getting them go nowhere. It's just stop calling for people's resignations. These elected officials, the people out in our community, stop calling for people to resign.
Yeah.
You gotta vote them the hell out next time. That's all.
Next year.
Exactly. I mean, come on. And Trump told everybody what he was going to do. Everybody, Project 2025. Everybody.
Yeah.
He told you. So,
do you think? So a lot of people feel like Trump is going to get a third term. Do you think he's going to? Do you think that will happen?
Let me tell you something. The way the Supreme Court is ruling in his favor all the time, I don't know, man. But I don't think he'll do some of it. I think even his own colleagues would be in an uproar if that happened. So, but man, the Supreme Court win after, and that big thing with Supreme Court, which allow ICE to not have probable cause to pick up immigrants. If they see them sitting at Home Depot or they're sitting at Lowe's, they can just go up to them without even having probable cause. That, as Sotomayor said, that will start. It will be the immigrants. It will be the migrants. Next thing you know, will be Hispanics. Next thing you know, you won't need probable cause now because they're going to argue, well, in this community, we know that the majority of the crime is being committed by people of color, and they're usually teenagers between 18 to teenagers. The age group is between 18 to 30. They wear their pants down. They fit this description, this overall general description, which will allow them to do that. This is the problem. This is the problem that could emerge from a decision such as this. But once again, we did not pay attention to the Supreme Court. Trump and his constituencies knew how important the Supreme Court is. And you know what? Ruling after ruling coming back in favor of Trump's administration. 6-3. Today was a decision 5-4. Justice Roberts sided with the minority on
and even speaking of that, this probable cause itself, the same immigration stuff. There was the high-profile ICE raid where Trump now wants the Korean detainees to stay and train U.S. workers. It's like seeing the benefit from people of other countries and wanting to leverage that. There's a manipulation there.
Because I thought we were just going after the criminals, but now you're going after innocent women and children who are just trying to earn and make a living, man. So it's just like even Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny says, I'm not doing any concerts in here in America because I'm afraid that, ICE will be raiding my concert and picking people up. This is like real stuff. And then you talk about rhetoric. This is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You got Noam getting on doing advertisements and stuff like that. Come on. People are so vulnerable when you don't even know where your next not only where your next meal is, but where you're going to be able to rest your head. But she thinks it's a joke coming on doing advertisements such as that.
And that's the thing, really. It goes back to even just paying attention to health and all that. People have so much things going on. It's like gullibility becomes easy. I'm tired. Yeah. That's true. I'm just gonna follow through with this. I'm so tired.
Gullibility becomes easy. That's true. Correct.
Even just in education too and all. Like I was talking about credibility with the students. Why am I credible? Oh, because you're the teacher. talk with parents. Really, parents just would leave the teachers to just handle the stuff because they 2 jobs, 3 jobs. There's not much time, so they just leave things into the hands of teachers, and so it becomes very hard. It becomes very hard to have to really navigate the amount of information that comes out on a particular day. I'm
You
not.
know.
Go ahead.
So Andre, how's the school year shaping up so far? First couple of days.
And
How's
so
that going?
so far it's good, man. I'm thinking about ensuring parents get involved, forcing them to be involved. So kids got to record audio or video conversations with parents about their reading and upload it. And if you're not getting that with a relative or family member, there goes your grade. There goes part of your grade. So
Yeah.
it's a forcing them to get involved. So just really just thinking about a lot of ways to do that. Um, but I mean, enjoying it, man. So far it's been going smooth.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Last night I had to attend my daughter's college night.
Oh,
These colleges, man, boy, oh boy, early decision, early this,
hmm
just it's so college admissions is so competitive now. You want to
yeah,
go to good schools, the best schools, and the kicker is colleges easily 80, 90,000 a year. That's
yeah,
not even grad school yet. So you can walk out of something. You can walk from your own education. You could just walk out. If you do an undergraduate degree and you go to law school, you go to medical school, you're talking about walking out of there with at least 6, 7, could be even $800,000 in debt.
yeah. I think I believe it was
And you
Warren
can't
Buffett.
and you can't find a job. It's just incredible.
Yeah, I think it
You
was
know,
Warren Buffett who said that. Um, he said, the college degree can be helpful, but it's not even the most important factor for success. Kind of like, is it the degree? Is the degree really needed right now? And I don't mean I'm not for college, because I went and I find it so valuable, really. Um, but in terms of the burden of just having to spend so much and then the struggle to come out and finding jobs right now, a job that you went and studied for, it's like that value in of itself. How
true.
much is that value there now? Like to owe so much, and people in terms of just like financial acumen, you know, people don't necessarily. A lot of people, I would say, don't necessarily have that financial acumen or knowledge, and so if you're going, you have to think about the money spent. I have a relative who wanted to go out of state and to see the amount of money they're racking up when they're looking at the budget. It's like, nah, never mind. I'm gonna just stay in the city. They go to the college right there. So it really comes down to just making sure that you're looking at the costs and then looking at the value and planning for that long term. What is the investment now, and how is that going to help out in the long term as when
I
I
know.
come up,
Hmm.
you know.
That's true. That's true. That's true. So there's education is always the key that unlocks and open many doors to success.
Those who education is
Wait, I
not
didn't hear. You went down.
sorry.
It's not the forte of those individuals. Learning a trade is just as important.
Yeah, trades now. Yeah, I think the trades that even when we still are still valuable, electrician, plumber, all those, and a lot of times people who are in those trades practicing, they're coming out making crazy amounts and don't necessarily
Crazy.
have the degree. They have the certification. Some people find their own practice in terms of company and running that company, and they're good. They're good at it. So vocational learning, I think, need to really emphasize that as much too. I always hear, the college and career path, when we talk about it in school, that's the career path right there. Has to be emphasized a great deal. And again, college valuable. not necessarily for everybody, but it's still valuable. I would suggest even for people to go, but be mindful of the amount that's being spent, how much you're gonna have to end up pay when you get out. You want to think about it, and just looking at the return on investment. That's the important piece. So there was a crash.
In Flatbush, man, where a car
Yeah, like
basically car disintegrated, hit something and split, disintegrated. The transmission was on one point, and the car
yeah.
was on another point. It was a stolen car, and it was speeding. And what? Man,
1 o'clock in the morning. It's wild. Like
it is
what
wild,
was going
man.
on there, bro?
It is
So
wild.
huh?
It is wild, my friend. Wild.
Yeah. So, but so that's necessarily it. Do you have any more thoughts and ideas on current events? What's going on?
You know what? I think
Or we can wrap?
we're looking forward to just seeing how maybe the political temperature might come down a little bit, uh, based upon what transpired with Mr. Kirk. I think some people just need to let's tone it down and let's stop talking at one another and start listening to one another.
Yeah.
Just listen. Villagers, and it doesn't have to deal with that. It just deals with even everyday life, man. Sometimes it's not worth engaging. Sometimes everybody got a bad day or whatever it is. Sometimes, saying good morning or just being positive, man. Just being thankful and grateful and positive might be able to change people's minds and thoughts upon certain things. But that's the way of the world. But
Yeah. Yeah. So
yeah.
that's my final
So
thought. I was saying my final thoughts regarding this too really is that considering what happened to him, Charlie Kirk really, and the fact that his kids now gonna grow up without dad, they can be influenced. They can be influenced by what happened, and so we have to be mindful, people. And as John said, talk with each other, not at each other. Talk with each other. We want to continually be safe. You may disagree with somebody's point, but that doesn't mean to hate, right? Converse, listen to what is being said, and your disagreement is valid, right? Try to have a counter argument. You want to win the conversation, go back to the drawing board, do a little research of your own, come back into the battle, converse, right? That's really it. And you have to find different strategies to get people to listen to you.
Amen.
So that's just what it is. So that's it, man. Birthday
All right,
wishes.
my friend. Yeah, wish my daughter birthday. Well, we'll be on the show next week. I can wish her happy birthday then.
And Sophia's birthday just passed, so happy blessed
So,
birthday.
big so. Happy birthday.
Yeah.
All right, villagers, looking forward to seeing you next week. Same time, same place.
Yeah. All right. Have a safe and great evening. Have a good weekend, family.
Bless. All right.